Hello everybody, my name is Maya Joy, and in today's video I would like to speak about choosing faith over fear in day-to-day life and why this is something that can improve our life and make our intuition more accurate. So as some of you know, I actually have a website, choosefaithnotfear.blogspot.com, and the reason that I chose that name is because I really believe in this concept. I really believe that when we consciously decide to choose faith rather than fear, that a lot of things in our life will start to go right. And if you do visit my blog, you'll see at the top that there's a quote, and the quote says, "The ultimate journey is the journey to one's self. And in that journey, it is the decision to choose faith, not fear, that propels us to the greatest depths of joy and love." And I'm a really lucky person because I am somebody who was able to actually meet my one true love and who is able to actually do my dream as my work. Like, I'm actually living my dream. I have my own business. I'm happily married. And I believe that the reason why I've had this success is because in the difficult moments when there was a choice between believing that something good could happen or having faith or making a decision based on fear, a lot of the time I chose faith. And I think the more that we choose in the direction of faith, the brighter and more happy that our lives will become. I do believe that faith is a choice. All throughout the day, starting as soon as you wake up in the morning, you're faced with decisions. And in almost every decision, you can choose to align your thoughts with something that feels uplifting, or you can choose to align your thoughts with something that feels fearful. And this happens as literally as soon as we open our eyes in the morning. Like, we can believe, today is going to be a great day and have faith that something good is going to happen today. Or we can wake up and we can say, "Ugh, another day. It's probably going to be a bad day, just like yesterday was." Ultimately, we all have free will to choose whatever we want. But I believe that often taking a stance of faith is the more intelligent choice. It's not that we're taking the easy way out. I feel like a lot of people think that just having faith is taking the easy way out, but it's not. Like, having faith requires actually a lot of discipline because it requires us to have the awareness, the intelligent awareness that, this could go wrong, this could go wrong, that could go wrong. And instead of sort of feeding those beliefs about everything that could go wrong, when we are actively sort of disciplining ourselves to exercise our faith muscle, that means that we are making that choice at every juncture to align the energy of our being. And I do believe this is really like a physical and spiritual practice, because when we choose faith, it sort of calms our nervous system and it lowers our cortisol levels and lowers our stress. So when we're choosing faith, we're making the conscious decision to align our being with the belief that things can and will work out in our favor. For me, what it means to have faith, it doesn't necessarily mean that I believe that my biggest and wildest dreams are going to come true, like exactly as I want them, in every single way. Actually, when I was younger, that was kind of what I thought. I thought if I just have faith, like anything is possible. As I've grown up, I've started to kind of redefine what faith means to me. And to me now, when I think of faith, it means that I believe that whatever is occurring in my life is helping me. Like, it's having faith that everything is happening for a reason. And even if it doesn't make sense to me right now, that it's somehow like leading to something good. To me, having faith also means having faith that there's a higher plan that's playing out. It means, believing that life isn't just random, things aren't just happening, things aren't just going wrong, but that there is a divine intelligence, that there's a higher awareness, that there's a higher plan for my life, and that everything that is occurring is leading me closer and closer to my destiny. And finally, having faith to me these days, it means, believing that I am worthy of goodness, and that I'm worthy of abundance, that I'm worthy of joy, and that, yes, I'm just worthy of miracles and good things happening to me. And I find that at times when my consciousness slips into a more fearful place, a lot of times it comes from a space of frustrated or low self worth. It's like, well, bad things happened to me in the past, so bad things are going to happen to me again. So I guess I'm just somebody who deserves bad things, or I guess this is my karma or whatever else. Like to me, that's kind of fear-based thinking. But when we step into that space of believing that we are enough and that we are worthy of wonderful things that maybe even transcend what we can imagine, that's when I think that we're really in the sphere of faith-based decision making. So I think it's sort of helpful to differentiate, that experience of faith versus an experience of kind of imagination. And I know that we all want to be grounded and we want to be empowered in our lives and we don't want to be living in a fantasy world. And I think what the difference is between sort of living in a space of faith versus living in a space of fantasy is that when we're in a place of fantasy or delusion, you'll know that you're there because when you're in that space, there's a refusal to face reality. There's a refusal to face the facts. So people that are really delusional, they'll believe something. And even if like every bit of evidence, like past, present, and future says that that thing is not true, then they'll still believe it. And oftentimes when people are in that space of delusion, they're not living in reality. They're constantly in their head, constantly in their imagination, and they're not able to perform what needs to be done in day-to-day life. And so I think that when we're in the space of faith, we're willing to acknowledge, like I said, like what can go wrong or even what is happening now. And maybe what's happening now is like out of alignment with what our heart really wants. But it's the acknowledgement that like, yes, right now, maybe in this moment, like things maybe have gone wrong or are not going in my favor, but I'm choosing to believe that things can turn around. I'm choosing to believe that somehow, some way, good is going to come of this and that there's a higher meaning behind what is occurring. When talking about choosing faith, not fear, it's also important for us to think and reflect a little bit on fear and how fear shows up in our lives. And what I have found in my own experience is that fear and fear-based thinking is very, very sneaky, and it's also very, 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 very convincing. And I wanted to just share with you guys just a few examples from my life of times during just the past 2 days where I have had the decision to choose faith or fear when trusting my intuition. And I want to describe to you how both of these energies showed up. So the first literally happened 30 minutes ago. So today I'm doing laundry, and about 30 minutes ago I walked down to the laundry room, and where we live, it's sort of a laundry room on every single floor. So we share it with a couple of other families. And as I was walking, I was trying to tune into whether or not the other person had removed their laundry from the dryer, because I had previously checked about 15 minutes early and there was a load of laundry in the dryer that was already done, but the person had not picked it up. And so I'm walking down this long hallway and I'm tuning in and I'm asking my intuition, will the person's laundry be out of the dryer? And immediately I receive a little clairvoyant vision of sort of the dryer door just being open slightly ajar, as if somebody had taken the laundry out. And then, like immediately afterwards, there was a voice in my head that was like, no, like you need to be prepared. The person probably, it's Friday night. Like the person probably hasn't gotten their laundry yet. They're probably out like having fun. You're going to have to wait. It's going to be a long time before you're able to put your laundry in the dryer. So you're going to have to stay up late tonight. And then again, like that other vision came in my head of the dryer door, like slightly ajar. And then, by that time I was pretty far down the hallway, and I step into the laundry room, and guess what? I saw exactly what I had seen clairvoyantly in my mind's eye. I saw the dryer door slightly ajar, and the person had come and picked up their clothes in that 15-minute window. And I was able to put all of my own sort of wet clothes in the dryer, and they'll be done with plenty of time. And so that's just a little example, but it's an example of how I had to consciously choose to believe in that good vision that had come to me, or in that higher vision of the outcome that I wanted. And I just wanted you guys to hear what that inner dialogue of fear can feel like to me. Every single day we're presented with these opportunities, just big, small, all different sizes, all different varieties, to choose to believe in the vision, the higher vision that represents the outcome that we would most prefer, to choose with our faith, or to align with fear. And there's another from yesterday, which again was me trying to tune into an outcome for something. And you guys, I'm the worst with my own self. I have usually a lot better faith when it comes to my clients, but for me it can be tough. So I was jogging, and on the end of my jog, I was going to stop at the post office. And what I was trying to tune into was whether a package that I had ordered on Amazon was going to be in my post office box or not. And I was really hoping that it was in my post office box, because it was something that I wanted to wear later on that night. And I didn't want to have to go back to the post office again later on in the day, because I just didn't have time. But it was only 8 o'clock in the morning, and mail's usually not delivered by that time. So that's kind of the thoughts I was having in my head. But I asked my intuition, will the package be there? And I saw in my mind's eye again, one of those big mailer envelopes, pushed inside of my post office box. I saw that vision. This time I had a mile to run, so I had a little bit more time. I had the voice of fear emerge, inside of my head, and telling me all the reasons why it wasn't going to be there. And there were many. It's not going to be there because the packages are never delivered this early, which they're not. And it's not going to be there because you didn't get a vibration on your phone, which when I get package deliveries, I get text messages from Amazon. And so theoretically, if it had been delivered, I should have felt that vibration during my run, but I didn't. And yeah, so I had all these reasons going on in my head. But at the same time, I just kept having that vision, or visualizing the mailing envelope being in the post office box. And eventually I ran, and I got to the post office, and I opened the box, and guess what? The mailing envelope was there. It's true, I had not gotten the notification that it had been delivered, so it must have just been delivered. But it was there in the box, and I was able to wear my new outfit later that night. And yeah, I just want to tell you this because I want you guys to know how sneaky our minds are, right? A lot of times that voice of fear can pull on so many reasons of logic, logical reasons. For me, mail's not usually delivered by that time, and I didn't get the confirmation, and it can try to talk us out of what our intuition is telling us, which is so much more often aligned with faith or aligned with love. So what does fear feel like? So for me, when fear creeps into my intuition or into my thinking, it often feels very repetitive. Fear is often just the same thoughts over and over again, that cycle, and it often feels really ungrounded, or really, really quick. No, it's not going to happen, and here's why, 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 and you got to be prepared to be disappointed, and fear usually comes through like that for me. When I am thinking from a place of fear, or tuning in from fear, I often also feel tension in my physical body, especially stress in my gut, in my solar plexus area, or in my throat chakra, a tightness here in my throat. When I'm coming from fear, I often also feel stress, physically and emotionally and psychologically. Fear also usually feels like worry. Often when you're in a place of fear-based thinking you also will have like your heart racing, or you'll have like an elevated blood pressure or pulse rate. Also, not be breathing well. So when you're coming from fear, often you're breathing really shallow, like, rather than like slow, calm, grounded breathing that usually comes when you're in a place of faith and accurate intuition. I often find that when I'm in a place of fear as well, like I often have memories of like all the bad things that have happened to me on repeat. Whereas, like, when I'm in a place of faith or accurate, clear intuition, there's usually just like a single knowingness that everything is going to work out fine. And it's simple and it's light and it's consistent. When our thoughts are aligned with faith, usually for me, it feels like serenity. It just feels like a nice, calm. I feel very calm in the nervous system. My energy feels like very expansive versus like with fear, it often can feel very constricted. A lot of times to me, like accurate intuition and faith, it can feel like love. Like it feels loving, whatever the thoughts are or whatever the vision is, it feels loving. It feels aligned with an unconditional love. And oftentimes with faith, there's a healing energy that is present as well, and a gentleness. And sometimes, even when you like shift into a place of higher belief and faith, you can even feel like bliss, like sometimes you can feel bliss, or you can feel like encouragement or enthusiasm or energy that comes to you. Whereas fear usually just feels like anxiety or even depletion. Faith can sometimes feel like an energy or like just what we need to take that next step. And I think what some people don't realize is that when you're having a moment of like accurate intuition, it will come through as feeling loving, unconditionally loving and calm, even if it's a negative outcome. Like, even if your guides are trying to alert you to something negative that's going to happen, if it's true, you'll still feel the presence of love and you'll still feel peace. And so, an example of this for me actually happened exactly 3 years ago today. And I woke up that morning and I needed to drive to the airport. And when I woke up that morning, like sort of in that state in between sleep and wakefulness, I had kind of like a dream vision of something huge like falling off my car and me getting in a car accident. And it was interesting because when I kind of opened my eyes and emerged from that space of sleep, I felt completely calm and serene. It was like I was fully remembered the vision or the dream of this thing falling off my car. I remembered it in total detail, but my nervous system wasn't going crazy. My mind wasn't going crazy. I felt calm. I felt serene. And I went out into the parking garage that day when I was about to leave to the airport, and I like laid down on the ground like a mechanic, and I looked up at my car, and I didn't see anything that was going to fall off my car. Like, I didn't see anything, but I was like, okay, well, like I don't know what that vision meant, but let me just be really careful when I go to the airport today. And so I ended up spending most of that trip driving like in the right hand lane. I didn't do much passing or anything, and I took it a little bit slow. And sure enough, about halfway into the trip to the airport, like my whole entire muffler system fell out of my car. But like I was driving slow and I was already in the right lane, and because I had remembered that vision and I had felt so calm, and so I was able to just take the nearest exit, and I was able to just pull like right into a muffler shop, and I got an amazing deal and they fixed it right away. And I just share this story because it's an example of a time where my guides were trying to get through to me something frightening that could happen, a car accident, and, work on my car that I didn't really want to pay for at that time, and delays for my trip and everything like that. So it's something that I definitely wasn't looking forward to. And yet, it didn't come through as fear. it didn't come through as fear. It came through as profound calm. And so I think even if something that we don't want to happen is going to happen and our intuition is trying to alert it to us, it will still feel like calm. It will still feel, you won't feel like you're out of control. You won't feel out of control. You won't feel self-hating. You'll feel like you have what you need to be able to cope with whatever is being presented to you. So sometimes people say that faith can move mountains. And I wanted to ask, is that really true? Is that really true? Does faith really move mountains? For me in my own life and after observing society, I believe that it can. I believe that faith can move mountains. When people come together and they have faith that something is possible, that faith can drive them and motivate them to take actions together that really can change the world. Like, I believe that when we consistently align our being, our soul, our body, our mind with faith, that we can achieve things that are technically impossible. Even like the little example of the package for me yesterday, like, it's really not possible that it was going to be there. Like, the deliveries are not made until after 8 o'clock, and yet it was there. And so I think that in big ways and in small ways, it's worth putting in the extra effort sometimes to choose faith. And when we do, I think life sometimes shows up and it meets us and it surprises us. And I think sometimes when we're choosing faith, I think our guides, our angels, they sometimes go the extra mile to show us those miracles. So if you want to see evidence of miracles in your life, I think it's really important to choose to believe that miraculous and amazing and positive things can occur for you and that you deserve them. And if you do this, I believe that with time, you will see the evidence of miracles and you will see your heart's desires come into fruition. That's certainly been the experience for me. So anyway, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. As always, I want to thank everybody who has tuned in. And I just want to encourage you all to choose faith and choose to align with the higher belief and vision of your heart rather than the visions or voice of fear. And yeah, thank you guys again for watching, and namaste. Bye.